What's going on? Charles Botenston here. So today what we're going to be talking about is the path to self-development. All right, so I started at age 20, 21, right around there. And it was the first time that I was like, hold on, wait, you can actually learn to be better, be smarter, to understand things. Like I wasn't good at school, I wasn't good at college, you already know that. But I didn't know that you can actually do something, compound it, like you learn something and then you learn something new and then you learn something new and you just keep on going up and it's like a ladder. And obviously patience is everything. You know, it's not gonna happen overnight, but there's actually stages, now that I look back on the last probably dozen years of being in self-development. And as a side note, if you're not, self-development doesn't mean that it's all that woo-woo Tony Robbins stuff, which I'm into, but it could be developing your body, developing your relationships, developing your body, a bank account, your legacy, giving back a lot, whatever it is, religiously, it doesn't matter. It's just, if you're not growing, you're dying, all right? So this is really the stages. And I'll just preface it that I'll just give you this story. So when I'm 20, probably 24 at the time, I'm 31 now, so 7 years ago, whatever that math is, 7 years ago. A buddy of mine, and you know, this is the thing, is that when you're younger, everyone's really doing the same thing. You know, no one's really making an extreme amount of money. And by the way, when you're in high school and someone has, like, say, a lot of followers or they're really popular or whatever, watch out, because they have so much validation when they're younger. A lot of that doesn't translate through to the real world because they're using their parents' money, their connections and everything else, but once they go out on their own, they're like, I wasn't prepared for this. But the people that were hardened by, like myself, like I started working at age 12. So I was hardened to things don't come for free, you have to work your ass off, and just failure and, you know, just all these things that actually make you prepared for when you graduate college, because up until then, someone's paying for, most of the time, someone's paying for your rent, someone's paying for your food and everything else. It could be a friend, a family member, the government, whatever, you know, it doesn't matter. But then once you hit a certain age, it's like, okay, we did our part, go and produce, go become a great member of society. And that's when you really see the true character of people. So looking back at it and going back to the story is that, so we graduated college, and this is really when you start seeing people going up or down. All right, so I started going up because I started going to Tony Robbins and reading books and everything else. We're hanging out, and buddy's over, and he goes, and I hate this question. Out of all the questions, because people know that I read a lot, self-development, everything like that, he asked me, he goes, give me one book to read. Give me one book. Immediately, that's a translation to, just give me that one thing that is gonna make my life better. Just give me that one tip to make $1 million. Just give me that one tip to get a great body. That relationship that sucks in my life, just give me that one book that I could read and everything's gonna be all right. I gotta tell you, that makes me the most angry. That is the lottery mentality. I go, I pay $2 and I could win the lottery. Or you can actually build your wealth, build your mind, have the confidence that you started at the lowest point of the totem pole and made it all the way up to CEO, founder, or a great body, or you started and you're fat, and now you're in shape, or you started and you're poor and now you're rich. You started in a bad, broken home and now you have a great family life. Like, think about that. All right, so and that all has to do with what I'm talking about. So number one is, he goes, when the student's ready, the teacher shows up. It's the same thing with anything. You know, I had, unfortunately, someone in my life passed away who, they were an alcoholic. And it was one of those things that's the first thing to AA, as the first step is admit I have a problem. And then the last step, the 10th step, is actually giving back. Because they know that if they don't give it back to someone else, that they're gonna fall back into it. And it's the same thing with your body. That's why you have a trainer at the gym. That's why you have teachers going through your whole life. That's why you have parents that just bring you through and they say, this is what you should do. I can't stress that enough into these stages. So number one is, you have to be aware and actually want to do something, all right? Because most people, I've already talked about the 80-10-10, which is 10 people, 10% of society just have no idea. They're just lost. They're just unproductive. They could care less. They want everyone in the world to just hate life. Then you have the 80%, which is clearly the majority, and they are just going with what they're being told by the government, by society, by anything, by whatever reality TV. This is what should be done. I go to school, and then I get married, and then I have kids, and then I die. And that's it. And then they don't lead an interesting life, and they don't leave a legacy. They're not so productive. They could be good people. That's the thing, is they could be good people and they have huge dreams, but they don't act on it. And then you have the 10% that are actually just crushing it, that are just really making a dent in this world, as Steve Jobs says. So number one is you have to actually be aware that you need to change, that you want to change. Not that you need to change, because there's, people need to change if they don't have a good body and their doctor said you have to lose weight, but you want to change. So that's number one, is that you want to change. You have to be committed. So that was essentially why you guys are watching this video, why I started when I was 20 years old, right around there, 20, 21 years old. And you have to be committed. Then the second stage is you start noticing things in life. So then you start the journey, all right? The journey never ends, by the way. It's not like, as Eleanor Roosevelt, there's an amazing quote out there. I read it. I don't have the book anymore. Anytime I read books, I just give it away, instead of throwing it out. That's silly. Or keeping it. Just keep on, it's like I'm like a library, except you take the books. And Eleanor Roosevelt said that we feel that we're on a train, and the train is life, and that we want to get to a destination. And that destination could be whatever it is in your life. That could be money, a relationship, having babies, owning a house, graduating college, getting whatever. And you want to get to that destination, and you just keep on going and going, and the train is going and going and going. And then you get there, and you notice it wasn't about the destination. It was about the journey along the way. It was about looking out the window. It was about the stops along the way. It was about enjoying the moments. Because she said when you get to the destination, you're the same person, except a little bit older. And that really hit me, because it's true. It's like I have massive goals, but the thing is, say I get those goals, or say I get close to those goals, the goals are only going to get bigger. But the thing is, I keep on reaching. Read Steve Jobs' last quote. I'm getting the chills. Steve Jobs, his last quote when he's on his bed and he's about to die is amazing. And he talks about that. It's not about the fame. It's not about the money. It's about enjoying life. We're just passing through. All right? So the journey. You have to be committed. Then number two is you start realizing things in your life. Once you start the journey, you start reading, going to seminars, watching YouTube clips, whatever you do, start taking things out of your life. You start eating right. You start going to the gym. You start saving money, paying down debt. And then you start noticing things in your life because of the things that you started reading. So that could be things in your relationship. That could be things in your life. Jocko, who's a former Navy SEAL, he's fantastic. The guy wakes up at 4:30. He's a great motivational, inspirational figure. He has a book out there called Extreme Ownership, where you just take extreme ownership. Everything in your life, everything that happens in your life or to you, you take responsibility. You decided to get into the car, and that's why at a specific time, and that's why someone say you got into an accident. Not a bad accident, just like you hit someone, it's a little ding, and you pull off to the side of the road. You get mad at someone else. Well, listen, extreme ownership means that you take extreme ownership that you got into the car at that specific time to go to a specific destination, and that person just happened to be there. That's extreme ownership, all right? Is that immediate? No, it's over time. So you start noticing things in your life. You start noticing when you overspend if you're looking to get out of debt. You start noticing the bad decisions about when you're actually eating. Because when you're in this, so the first stage is you're completely unaware, all right? And you just start eating crappy food. Then you're like, you know what? I want to change my body. So you get committed. And then you start saying, all right, you know what? I'm going to read about this. Okay, I have to go to the gym, I have to eat right, I have to exercise, I have to do certain things to get where I want to go. And then you start noticing things, all right? You start noticing things in your life where you start saying, okay, you know what? I'm going to choose the salad over the hamburger, because when you're not committed and you're just completely unaware, it's a habit. You just see fries and a burger and you say, screw it. You see a Coca-Cola, you just do it. You are tired and you don't go to the gym. You just stay at home, all right? So that's not committed, committed, and then you start noticing things in your life. And then the next stage, which is super important, and then there's another stage after that, but the next stage is you start noticing it, and then you're actually doing something about it proactively. So in other words, before you even walk in, so when you notice it, you're looking at the menu and you go, I shouldn't have the burger, I should have the salad. Then the next stage is you start living that lifestyle where you choose where you're gonna go, where you're gonna eat, the time you're gonna go to the gym, and things like that. You're actually proactive instead of reactive. Reactive is you go into a place and you see the menu and then you're like, okay, you know what, I'm gonna choose this. Proactive means I'm gonna specifically choose my friends, the places that I'm gonna eat, the college I'm gonna go to, what I'm gonna read, what I'm gonna put into my body. So you start getting proactive instead of reactive. And then the last stage, which I'll tell you a story about, and the reason I pointed over there, that's my laptop right there. I can't even do it. There you go. And I was watching a show, and essentially, so there's probably another stage after this, but where you start recognizing it in other people, and then you can name that. You can actually name the behavior or the decisions of other people. So I was watching a show, and it's $1 Million Listing LA. You know, I'm in real estate, and I like taking away. To be honest, it's not for the entertainment because I don't really get entertained. But I look at, nuances, their thinking, and things like that. So in other words, you see a certain situation, and you're like, you know what, this is what I'm going to take out of it. So there was the real estate agent, there was a buyer, and then there was another buyer. And the two buyers did not know each other, but this one was waiting, and they're waiting outside the home. And they were getting mad. They're like, is this agent making me wait? And it's amazing because it was an expensive home, $8 or $9 million. And when you start actually, so I'm on this stage where you can actually see the situation and name it. And I'll tell you right now, which is, so the guy said, I can't believe this agent is making me wait. And I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, wow. So immediately most people will be like, yeah, why is he making him wait? I think differently. I say, why did he say that? Why is this his reaction? And it's not judgmental. It's just like, why? Just like curiosity. So then I started thinking to what Tony Robbins said, which is you respect yourself, your body, your assets, the people in your life, when you start caring about things. He cares about his time, and he's saying, why is this person making me wait? Which is, I care about my time, this person. So in other words, he has a standard. So in other words, there's a lot of things going on here. So number one is, what I'm saying is, you actually see a situation, and you don't use it for entertainment. You're not subjectively involved. You're actually seeing a situation, and then you say, oh, okay, this guy's got a standard. And the reason this is good is because when you start getting to this point where I am right now, you actually get to change real time how you communicate with people in negotiating, in selling, in influencing. If you're at work, if someone starts getting aggravated, it's like, okay, you know what? The approach that I'm taking, it's not working. You're talking to a pretty girl and she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Don't continue on that path. Like, obviously what you're doing is not working. I'm not saying become a different person, but if you're talking to someone in Spanish, yet they only know Portuguese, they're close, but they're still like this. You want to be talking on the same wavelength, all right? That example probably could have been better, like Mandarin and Spanish, which are two totally different languages. But the next step, which I think is where Tony Robbins is, where literally he sees everything. He sees their breathing pattern. Like when he's talking to someone, go to one of his seminars. It's crazy. I know this is a long video, but I hope you're getting a lot of value out of this. So when you go to one of his seminars, you can actually see him real time talking to someone. If someone's very aggressive at him, he's very aggressive back, because that's how the person communicates. That's selling 101. If someone's very soft-spoken and they talk slow and they're from Minnesota, or Tony Robbins will also talk like this. And that's the thing, is that if Tony Robbins was talking to someone or someone was very aggressive and Tony was like soft-spoken, the person's like, I don't respect him. So it's all psychology. He sees their body language, their breathing patterns, their how are they leaning? Did they twitch when Tony said something? Did he ask a question and get a certain reaction? And he literally goes, he starts with one question, And then he goes, okay, they reacted this way. Okay, I'm gonna go here. They reacted this way. They reacted. And then he just goes, it's just like, it just spiders out. He goes and it spiders out. All right. So this is really for people that are on the elite level. These are like the Michael Jordans that he would literally control the behavior and the movement of other people. All right. So this is really the path of self-development where you're unaware, you don't understand habits and everything else, and you're in the state. You just go through life just People are telling you what to do. Then you're committed. If you actually want to change, then you start learning about it and you start seeing things in your life, and then you're reactive. Then you start getting proactive, and then you start seeing results, or you start seeing situations and naming it and saying, oh, I've seen this before. This person has a standard. That's why he respects his time. And then you got the Tony Robbins, which is real-time communication and actually controlling the responses that he gets. It's insane. He's like a ninja master. All right, so I hope this was a little bit helpful for you guys, but I just wanted to make this video. I'm actually probably going to throw it out there today. And subscribe to the video, leave your comments below. Hope all is well, and that's it. Talk to you soon.